Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon and today we're making a unicorn cake because, well, you guys asked me to lots and lots of times. This week's Notification Squad shout out goes to Gem101 Gem. For your chance at a shout out, press the bell to turn on notifications and put done in the comments to let me know that you've done it. Now, to make this cake you will need 6 sponge cakes leveled, and the recipe videos for that is on the howtocookthat.net website, and I'll link to that below. You will also need a triple quantity of my basic vanilla buttercream recipe, and to make that all you do is beat together the butter and the icing sugar and keep that beating for a few minutes until it looks smooth and dreamy. Then add in vanilla or whatever flavouring you like. Use a cookie cutter to cut the middle out of your sponge cake and then add some simple syrup on top. Simple syrup is just made using equal parts of sugar and water and heating that up in the microwave until the sugar is dissolved. Then let it cool and you can add flavouring to it if you like. I'm using some musk flavouring in mine. Pipe a circle of buttercream onto the cake and then spread that out using a spatula. Piping it on just makes it easy to get an even amount of buttercream between each layer of cake. Cut out the centre of the next layer and then add that on top. And continue layering up simple syrup, frosting and cake until you have 5 layers of cake. Fill the centre with M&Ms right up to the top and then add simple syrup. Spread out the frosting around that top ring there and then add your top layer of cake, and you don't want a hole in that one. Pipe buttercream all over the outside of your cake and spread it out, covering up all the gaps, all over the top and all around the sides, getting it as smooth as you can. And once it's fairly smooth, you want to place that in the fridge to firm up. Roll out some white and black fondant for the ears and cut a leaf shape out of the black just by cutting a curve and then the other way cutting a curve back on it so it makes that leaf shape. Then take some gold luster dust and brush it over the top using a dry paintbrush. Gently lift those up and place them onto some white fondant and then cut around the gold leaf shape, leaving a border of white so that then we have the ear shape there. Take a cake pop stick and press down gently on one end, leaving a slight indent. Then push the cake pop stick into the base of the ear. To curve the ear up, place a snake of white fondant under the baking paper on each side of the ear and then press down using your little finger in the middle there. And you can make these a couple of days ahead and leave them to dry out, or add tylose powder to the fondant so it dries out quickly. Roll out some yellow fondant and cut out some stars. Now, if you don't have a star cutter, you can just print out a picture of a star and cut around it using a knife instead. With some of your stars, you want to cut out a smaller star inside as well so that you end up with like the star outline, and we're just going to leave those to dry out. Now roll a long snake of black fondant. Now the key to getting a long even snake is if you see anywhere where there is a bump, just place your finger there and keep rolling until that is out and it's all smooth and the same thickness. Rub along one side with a little bit of water and then wrap one end around the base of an ice cream cone. Just squash it down at the starting point so you don't have a blunt end there so that it's actually going in. And then twist the cone around and around to wind the fondant on. Add another snake of fondant halfway up and continue to wrap it all the way around up the cone and to the top, and then just cut it off and neaten that top bit up. Take some gold luster dust and brush the unicorn horn with gold. And the reason you use black fondant is when the black is under the gold, it makes it look really shimmery and full coloured. If you use white underneath, it looks a bit opaque and yellowy. It doesn't look as good. Take the cake out of the fridge and smooth out any imperfections just using a little bit more buttercream. Place any leftover buttercream into bowls and colour it using gel food colouring. I'm going to make mine pink, blue and purple. You can use whatever colours you would like your unicorn to be. Now I want to mix the pink and the purple in the one piping bag, and the way that I do that is to take a double layer of plastic wrap and put some of the purple icing onto the plastic wrap along the length of it in a straight line, leaving a gap at one end. Then fold it over and roll it up like a sausage, making sure, as I said, there's some empty space at one end. Repeat that with your pink frosting. Now carefully put those together and place them inside your piping bag, and then just shake them down to make sure they go right down to the bottom, and twist those empty ends together, and you want to twist it closed so the icing can't come back out the top when you're piping. Roll a strip of blue and then use a pizza cutter to cut 2 straight edges. Then take that piece and wrap it around the base of your cake. Now do the same with a strip of pink and then yellow. Add the horn to the center of your cake and then add each of your ears on either side of the horn, just poking that cake pop stick down into the cake. Take your mixed bag of icing and pipe a star just next to the ear, and then add another one on the other side. Pipe a few more and then some smaller stars of blue in between, and continue to do that until you've covered the top and down in a slight triangle at the front. Now you want to bring the piping down on one side and around, like the unicorn's mane is sweeping down and around over one side. Then fill in the top at the back and bring that down to that side too. Now you can decorate that how you like, just adding a few little stars and different things on top, and then take some black fondant and cut out triangle chunks out of it so that you're making the eyelashes for the unicorn. Again, dust them in gold so they look pretty, and then carefully add them to the front of your cake.
Boo the unicorn was chilling on a cloud. I wish I had a friend, she sighed out loud. Through the cumulonimbus came a giggling sound, and Boo spotted a party way down on the ground, when a single tear dripped down on a hoof. Boo slipped off the cloud and onto the roof. "Who's there?" screamed Ice Cream. "A thief," said Cupcake. "It's just me," Boo trembled and flopped on her butt. "I was watching up there and wished I was here." Ice Cream was concerned, but Donut had no fear. "Don't worry," he said with a smile as he bounced. "We love it when new friends drop in unannounced." And thus was the story of how Boo Unicorn, with a fluffy white coat and a shimmering horn, became friends with a family of sweet, yummy treats in a land where everyone makes it a great week.
And there you have a super easy, pretty Boo the Unicorn cake. And it's filled with M&Ms, of course, for that surprise inside when you slice it. Make it a great week, and I'll see you on Friday.